Good evening. I have the horrid look of a worn down hulk of a once bag of water with internal skeletal. But I am still here and I am a warlock. This is Hacking the Soul 2, and this is just something I kind of like want to preface. So I wrote down a couple things, but not really anything, just to get me started. So, because I don't normally do that, I thought, why not? I sometimes have blocks in my thought, and I don't want any blocks in my thought. So, defining the others that have you hacked. Okay, defining the others that have you hacked, which is because they have that privilege. They invented the AI software that is in a nano format inside you right now, inside your genetics that scholars aren't going to tell you about if they did know, which I believe they do know. Okay, so more or less, your personality has been being run by about 70% of the majority that created you. Then 30% kind of intermix their hacks of you to see how you function and stuff like that when they come by the solar system from wherever, other dimensions. Possibly they're controlled from other dimensions, but they may be something we can visually see. Some may not, but nonetheless, they don't. These creatures already have you hacked from day one. Now, other creatures, like, well, let's say mankind, have you are trying to make a hack of their own successful. So I have a feeling it has to do with the inoculation. I'm just saying, I have a feeling. This is an opinion. This isn't a. I'm not saying I know more than anyone else. So let's see. So the humans are trying to intervene to hack too because they want to get some secrets. Hold on a second. Let me plug this in because this shit needs to be plugged in. Okay. All right, there we go. So they want to make sure that they get a piece of the action. So mankind is trying to hack you. And first of all, you have been already, pre-hacked by a community of ETs. Predicting this is easy if you know what to look for. Discrepancies of supposed attuned average thinking processes. So if you have discrepancies which seem advanced to you, but without your prior knowledge, that's a hint that not only are you're figuring your own mind out as a robot like HAL did in 2001. You're figuring out that these things are controlling you, and you have no way, or you may have a way to bypass it. But you're not evil. You're trying to bypass somebody else's shit, which it may not intentionally be evil, but just to run you like a farm animal, so that you don't get too smart, too out of place. Right now we're just kind of like warehouse here, kind of like a slave planet. Okay, so. But to hack yourself, you have to know this. You can't just start making all kinds of predictions. Like, I'm not making predictions. I'm using intuitional thought, which transists into psychic. So it goes from one thing to the other, kind of like the blade of a turbine, or not the blade of a turbine, but the compression blades of a turbine. You're redirecting and advancing it upward to psychic. Okay. So once you do that, you're able to hack yourself. Okay, now a lot of people don't talk about that. When they're psychic, they're actually hacked their own body, their own mind. Well, mostly their mind. In principle, just your mind. But those electrical fields are still changed within you and everything, so it is modified, completely altered. All right. And at that point, you could say, well, if you're that advanced, well, if maybe I'm saying that I can hack myself, so I'm pretty intelligent. Well, yeah, I am. Because I can always tell when somebody has, alternative intentions. So, like right away, it's slight angles from intuition to psychic. Now, it doesn't mean I like to go out and prove this shit to people. But as an example, even when I was young, I was a warlock without knowing it. I would know what my friend was thinking. This particular friend in particular, he was easy to fucking read. It was like, damn, I couldn't get his fucking mind off mine. It was bothering me. So, it's just the driver. He's my chauffeur. Basically, I'm not a rich guy, but basically, he was like the high school chauffeur for all the friends I had or something at the time. I don't know. And a little after that, later he spilled an entire like 5 gallon pot of hot bean and bacon or pork fat soup all over his Bonneville, plush Bonneville. And I guess he had to get rid of it eventually because of that. Because that smell just was impossible to get out after he cleaned it and everything. I think he got so desperate he fucking started spraying acetone in there or something, trying to get rid of the smell. It never worked. But anyway, that guy, I could read his mind like easy. And he was scared of me as a result of that. And I noticed that. And that was when I was really young, like, pretty much 15, 17, around those ages. I started noticing certain people are really easy to read. And the reason why was because they give out micro clues to themselves and just some of their features and their changes in their face. And it doesn't really quantify to somebody who's going to school as a professor and stuff like that. Sure, they could probably relate and have a conversation with you, but they would come back with their academia shit and say, no, I don't think it's very accurate or whatever, just to criticize you. But once you do start figuring these things out, you realize that, you're in a controlled vessel here, this body, and mankind's simply trying to get a tap into it. Kind of like when they used to tap phones, they just want to be able to tap the hack and kind of like hack it themselves so they can listen in and gain some information. So that's what's going on right now, guys. Don't take the inoculation.